The most effective people in tech know how to ride the elevator between the C-suite and the code base. Mastering that journey lets you connect strategy with delivery, and that's where real impact happens. Today, we're talking about the book The Software Architect Elevator by Gregor Hohpe. Gregor's a German-born software architect who's worked at Allianz, Google Cloud, Amazon, and he co-authored Enterprise Integration Patterns, another one of those rare arm's reach books I keep right next to my desk. In this one, he shows how bridging business and technology isn't just an architect's job, it's a skill that anyone can use to make change happen. When I think of the book, one project in particular comes to mind. It's a perfect example of what this book means by riding the elevator. I was the architect for a new managed services product, and I can still picture it, walking back and forth between the boardroom where the management team was discussing strategy and the PI planning room where the Kanban boards were covered in dependencies and timelines. I'd sit with our DevOps engineer working through exactly what it would take to meet the deadline management wanted, then head back upstairs to negotiate for the resources and scope the team needed. That constant movement, translating needs, testing ideas, and making adjustments in real time is exactly what riding the elevator looks like in practice, and it's where an architect can have the most impact. When I reread this book recently, I was reminded just how much of my own approach is shaped by it. It's not just that I agree with the ideas, they've become a big part of my toolkit. Here are the big ones that stuck with me. Architects make sense and make decisions. David Nott's line from The Ford sums it up. Architects make two things that are in short supply. They make sense and they make decisions. That's exactly the job when you're riding the elevator, taking all the technical complexity from the engine room and turning it into meaningful business choices in the penthouse. The opposite is also true. If you can't frame those choices in a way the business understands, the best technical solution in the world won't go anywhere. Architecture is about options, not lock-in. Martin Fowler's advice to eliminate irreversibility is a major theme. Hohpe frames it as selling options, giving the business flexibility without drowning them in detail. I've seen this firsthand on transformation programs, where the ability to pivot was worth far more than squeezing an extra 2% of performance from a system. Options keep you in control. Lock-in takes it away. Communication is a strategic tool. One of my favorite chapters in the book is called Show the Kids the Pirate Ship, a reminder that no one cares how much effort you spent, they want to see results. Hohpe also warns that some people will fight to control communication, which means you need to pick your battles. For me, this isn't about being right, it's about building the right thing. And that tip about never drawing something more precisely than it exists in your head, that's gold. It stops something from seeming more finished than it actually is. Changing the organization is part of the job. This isn't a book about architecture or slideware. A lot of it is about understanding that complex systems resist change. And if you want to change the outcome, you have to change the system. That could mean removing black markets for IT services that give some teams unfair advantages, or flipping the pyramid and delivering something valuable at the top first, then letting common functionality filter down. The point is, you can't transform the tech without also transforming the organization around it. Good creativity requires constraints. The chapter, A4 paper doesn't stifle creativity, really landed with me. A4 paper doesn't make an artist less creative. Standardize where it creates efficiency and economies of scale, but leave the inside of the page blank so that people can still innovate. It's a good reminder that constraints, when designed well, don't limit creativity, they focus it. You don't need the word architect in your job title to use these ideas. Riding the elevator is really about being able to move between perspectives, whether that's between customers and your product team, between operations and management, or between two very different skill sets. If you're a developer, that might mean translating a technical constraint into a trade-off your product owner can actually weigh. If you're in product or delivery, it might mean getting just enough into the technical detail to make sure you're not promising the impossible. Start small. Practice rephrasing technical issues in business terms. When you're given a decision, don't just say yes or no. Outline the options and their trade-offs. Look for moments where you can connect two parts of the organization that don't talk much. You'll be surprised how quickly people start to see you as the person who makes sense of complexity. And that's the first step to riding the elevator, whatever floor you start on. For me, the Software Architect Elevator has earned a permanent spot on my arm's reach shelf, the books that I keep close because I use them all the time. It gave me the metaphor and the framework to describe the work I've been doing for years, and it sharpened the way I think about architecture as more than diagrams or technology. It's about options, influence, and making sure what's being built truly connects to the business goals. Whether you're an architect, a developer, or just someone who works across different parts of an organization, this book will give you tools to move between perspectives, and that's where the real change happens. If you've read it, I'd love to hear your takeaways in the comments. And if you've got a favorite arm's reach book of your own, let me know. I might feature it in a future episode. Until then, I'm Stuart Campbell, and this has been the FTS Book Club.